Today is March 6th, 2015, and this setting, or the frame here for this video clip is a little bit different just because it's nighttime right now, and there are not a lot of options for lighting in my place at the moment, so that's, and I'm actually standing in front of a guinea pig cage because I was going to hide it, but I guess I'll show you the cage. So I have guinea pigs, and don't necessarily always want to advertise that because there are a lot of people who do not have guinea pigs and don't understand it. Probably like some individuals who might have snakes or rats or insects or things like that, but but I think they're cute. And so anyway, so that was partial disclosure because you saw a little bit of what I was talking about. And I've been talking in the video clips about being sexually assaulted, and most recently I've been talking about different things that happened with Mike Tanzer. And when I say that I wasn't under the influence at the time, but it was like a government thing again, I feel like I've probably tried to explain that enough times in different videos that I've made so far as to what that means, like the things they did, and I really can't stress enough how many times it was done, because that is a huge factor in why it's not random, and why a lot of these kids who were the sons and daughters of government officials, they knew this, and they have been given all this information about me, which is somewhat peculiar because it's an enormous government bullying system. And, more than bullying, it's really letting people who are Nazis, and no offense to anybody who feels like the word Nazi is overused, because I would agree with that, in that I feel that there are a lot of countries that have had war criminals or other kinds of people who've done really, really horrendous things. And they weren't called Nazis, they were whatever they were. But I use that term just because it's become so familiar in common culture as to what it means and what kinds of things maybe took place with association of that group, that it's easy to use as a generalization, to use as a word that is a catch-all for things that people have done, across the world, that regular people would kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about. And for this group of people to be getting all this government information about me, I mean, they had to share this information, plot and plan, and they had parents that were working in the government to do all this. And on the other hand, I wasn't given any information about any of them. I wasn't being given government information about how I can go stalk them out and try to degrade them and rape them sexually by using a bunch of trigger words and things that were associated with their programming. Nobody ever told me this is how you get to this person, because this is what we've been doing for so many decades. And so I feel that, I don't feel, I know that what has been going on is just as bad as any kind of war crimes and collusion to commit war crimes as have occurred in other countries. And so anyway, so that's why I didn't get into more detail about that particular last incident with Mike Tanzer. And, maybe after I finish making all the rest of these clips and detail a few more things, I might go back to that. But anyway, but another thing that was concerning, which I'll mention, is that when I was a little bit older, or no, not older from when I'm talking about Mike, but when I was younger, as in a preteen, and living in Coquille in an RV, and kind of on my own. I was sort of trying to become emancipated, trying to be independent, and I was really getting beat up about my ideas of female independence, especially at my young age. But I feel that my entire life I've been beat up about female independence. If it's not someone saying you're not a real Christian, it's someone saying, oh, if you don't want to be with a man to support you, then you must be a lesbian. Or, if it's not that assumption, then it's something like you must be antisocial. Or, it's always something that is, it's just not it hasn't been accepted. And in the United States, supposedly you have a right to independence. And what I've tried to do is be independent, but the United States government spent all that time raping me and torturing me, and they didn't want me to be independent. They wanted me to be completely controlled by them, and never able to do anything independently that was successful. And so, sure, they'd let me go out on my own and fail, and construct everything to make sure that I failed, that I didn't have enough money, that someone was stealing from me, someone was getting into my bank security boxes, someone was shutting down my bank accounts, someone stealing files from my file cabinets. So anytime, like career-wise or just personally, that I've tried to be on my own and independent, I've been really beat up about it and never been able to be successful at it. And it's not because I didn't work hard enough, and it's not because I didn't want to. It's because this government has been trying to drill into me some sort of idea that you need us. So basically, they're the abusers who have tortured me my entire life. And they want to say, you need us. And an example of that, of something that they did one time to try to have me remember that I supposedly needed them, was they put me into when I was a preteen, they had taken away my daughter. Because I had a daughter when I was a preteen. Or I should say a very young teen. And and it was in Coquille, Oregon. And I had everything lined up and organized. I had I had basically a plan for how I was going to support her and myself. I was going to keep going to college because I was in some sort of they were calling it at the time a pilot program, and I had some financial aid from it, and from what I was told, it was from a GI Bill because I had been enlisted in the military in some way. And exactly how it was organized, I really don't know, but those were the circumstances, and I always wanted to work and do something that I liked to do and I was good at doing. So at that time I was going to college, and I figured out a plan and a budget for being able to do that and have a baby too. And then what happened is, the government was just looking for another baby to kidnap from me, because they had been threatening me since I was a very young girl that they would never let me raise my babies, and they were going to take my babies away from me unless I chose to work with them. And sometimes they didn't even throw in that unless you choose to work with us part. Sometimes it was just like an ultimatum that no matter what I did, whether I worked for them or not, they were still going to take my kids away. But usually they had some sort of a caveat to it, such as, if you work for us or allow us to train your baby, then we might not have to take your kid away. So I wanted to do it myself, and I said that. And then what happened was they took my baby away. I'm not going to go into all the details of what happened right now, but I was trying to stay afloat at first and just trying to get a bunch of things together so that I could fight to get her back. I was getting blackmailed by the United States government. I was getting blackmailed and I was getting tortured. And then later, of course, they said they wanted to slim me down real quick, make it look like I'd never been pregnant. And and then all of a sudden, one day, it never happened. So they addressed what was going on and talked about it with me, and then all of a sudden, after they'd committed a series of crimes against me, they just shut it down and said it never happened, as if I was walking into some other kind of existence, and that other aspect of what they had done to me and to my life and to my child. Didn't even count. So, so after they did all that, I became very depressed. And it wasn't while I was having to go to court that I was depressed. I was depressed later after they had adopted her away from me and forced me away from her. And I wanted to die. So the government's idea of trying to shake me up, try to convince me that they knew what they were doing and come on, snap out of it. Their idea was to literally to drop me into a huge aquarium fish tank. And I will explain what that means exactly, what they did in the next clip.